All right, now on to something else. Hello, my name is D Lyles. I've lived in the country of Ghana since 2011 to now in 2025. For the past 8 years, I split time about 8 months, 4 months, back and forth. Sometimes 8 months in Ghana, sometimes 8 months in the U.S. Out of these previous years, past 10, 15 years, out of those, actually, what are we at, 2020, yeah, about 14, 15 years. 3 of those years I lived in Nigeria, traveled to Togo, Egypt, spent a substantial amount of time in Turkey, Morocco, Amsterdam, London, places I'm probably forgetting. But for the most part, residency has been in Ghana. My home was completed in Ghana in 2017, January, right before the Eagles' first Super Bowl. Since then, I've built my business, textile factory in Ghana, and I do part-time work when I'm here in the U.S., working with kids with autism. And besides that, just spending time with my children, being there to raise my family, and trying to be the man that God's need me to be in order that I could walk the right journey, the path in this life. But right now, today, I want to talk about why is it a bad time to visit Ghana financially? Well, that's quite simple. Everything is about currency exchange. Over the past 4 or 5 years, the currency exchange to Ghana CD versus US dollar has been approximately $1 to 5 years ago around 13 CDs up to 2025, which was just short of 18 CDs. So that's one CD for $1 is like you have $18. Now, with things that have went on with Ghana and their gold reserve, where they decided to make some adjustments, which is to begin to procure to handle their gold on their own as far as nationalizing the mining aspect of it. So with that being, meaning that instead of a lot of these Canadian and French companies continue to be in there mining the gold, taking it out, paying pennies on a dollar, and taking it to their country, making it into jewelry, whatever you make, whatever, whatnot, and making a fortune of it. Now, the government in Ghana has decided that they themselves will no longer do business with these foreign companies in that fashion, and that now you have to go to the gold bond in Accra in Ghana if you, a foreigner, want to buy gold, whether you're a corporation or an individual. So small mining is not allowed in Ghana anymore. I think it's prosecuted up to minimum of 5 years or 3 years in prison, something like that. So they're really putting steep penalties on cutting down on small mining, which is called in Ghana, let me get the word right, Galamsey is what it's called in Ghana, which is small mining, illegal mining or whatever, which has always been like a huge business in Ghana. So that has affected a lot of things that's going on with the value of the Ghana CD. So from, when did I just leave Ghana? I just left in the beginning of May, so we're in June. A few weeks prior to me leaving in May, back in April, I would say the beginning of April, it was 1 CD to about just short of 18 CDs, which was the highest rate it's ever been. But once this new political movement in Ghana with their gold bond reserve happened, it has dropped the US dollar down to about 10 CDs versus $1 US. So that's nearly cut in half, so approximately 47%. So the US dollar as of May 2025 into the current time in June here, has lost 47% value. Now, if you go on Google and look at the NASDAQ and other charts that are predicting that the dollar will continue to fall to approximately 5 CDs versus 1 US dollar, which would make the US dollar that would mean that the dollar has lost close to 80% of its value in Ghana, which pretty much would say that anything that you buy here in the US, you're likely to pay the same price in Ghana, if not more, because of the inflation rates over the past 2 years. Now, back in 2011, the US dollar, 2011 is when I first moved to Ghana. So back in 2011, the US dollar was approximately 5 CDs then. But the difference is inflation was nowhere near as high as it is today. So for instance, I'm in the textile industry. Kente cloth is one of the things that we produce. So say like, I'm just give you an example. The average Kente price, basic Kente cloth back then was about, for 6 yards was about 300 CDs. So back then, even though the dollar only traded at 5 CDs, you were paying somewhere around $25, $30 or whatever. So if I'm getting my math right, I'm just trying to remember off my business structure, what I used to do. So yeah, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, you're looking at probably like around $20, $25. So it would cost $25 now. Back then, technically, I don't want to start seeming all confused on it, because I used to be really good at math. I used to be excellent at math, but been out of school for so long. All right, this is a better way to put it. 6 yards of the same Kente today costs about 1,000 Ghana cedis. That same Kente then was about 300 Ghana cedis. So inflation over the years took it from 300 to 1,000 Ghana cedis. So that same 300 cedis with the US dollar would have been like $25, $30 or whatever. But to buy that same product today, you would pay, if you buy it in Ghana, of course, you would pay $100. So that's a $70 increase since 2011. But if you're buying outside of Ghana, you tack on international tax, which we do. Anything that's bought and paid for and shipped outside of Ghana, you're going to pay a substantially higher price. And also you have to look at the shipping costs, because shipping costs a lot of times cost more than the product itself, especially if you're shipping with DHL Express. And even Ghana Post have went up. So say like I'm going to charge you $100, which I used to charge you $30 back then. Now, on top of that, you have to pay another $70 for international shipping, and then you have to take the international foreigner tax, which is about, say, 30%. So you're going to pay about $200 now today for something that overall you probably would have paid about, let's say, $70 total, with $30 for the product, another $40 for the shipping. So just giving you just off the top of the head example of how the lifestyle as far as currency exchange have changed over in Ghana. So where I live is called Pokuasi. It's considered a suburb outside of Accra, but it's on the main road that leads right back into Greater Accra. So it's easy access. It's pretty much a straight route, but you know, traffic used to be one thing, but now we not completed, but there is an expressway that is under construction. It was under construction for the last 5, 6, 7 years. It stopped during the election, and after the election, now as of May, it just now went back to being continuing construction. A lot of it is closed, but a lot of people use it anyway. So once that's finished, it'll alleviate a lot of traffic coming from the Pokuasi area to Ghana. So the, how you say, the property rate or cost of housing, whatever, in that region will go up substantially high because of the expressway. So right now, to live in that area, which is a beautiful area, mountains everywhere, if you're renting, it will probably cost you about 3 to 4 thousand Ghana, which is about 3 to 400 US dollars a month. To buy a house, to buy, say, a 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom home, nice kitchen, modernized, look like something you buy in the U.S., you're probably looking at about 150 to $250,000, depending on how much space you want and how much plots of land you want to build on. As far as back to what I was talking about, that is the main reason, because of inflation and the 47% drop in the value of the dollar, which is why it's not a good time to invest, to buy, to do anything in Ghana. You might say, well, when do you do that? Well, going by other predictions, also the same predictions also predict, even though in July, August, it will continue to drop closer to 5 CDs, but that's not a guarantee. That's just a prediction based off what's happening now. Those same predictions are also predicting that come December, it will go up to back to about 13, 14, maybe even 15 Ghana cedis. And the reason why I tell you that it has to do that is because investment. Ghana, just like any other country, need investors, need outside investors, because only so much people in Ghana make so much money. I'm not saying that like there are not millionaires. There are many millionaires in Ghana, but all countries need corporates outside of their own national entities to invest. So when investors, especially big time investors, see that their money is only worth half of what it used to be, they're going to hold back on their investments, and they're going to play the waiting game to see. So what that is going to do, ultimately that hurts the Ghana economy, because now the investors are pulling back their investment, they're pouring money into the country. So now, with inflation still going up and not enough investment coming in, the economy goes into a recession. So what the government is going to have to do is, because what's happening is when the dollar drops, what's supposed to happen is inflation is also supposed to drop so that people can afford the cost of everyday living things. But in Ghana, people don't do that. For whatever reason, the greed is the greed. So you talk to any Ghanaian, and they would say the same thing. Even when the value of the dollar drop, it affects everybody. Because a lot of businesses in Ghana are, like I said, outside investors. So they're even going to start laying off workers, or they're going to start dropping salaries. And when that happens, the cost of living is still going up. They can't afford the everyday cost of living. Let me give you an example. Like, if I go to buy a 20-pound bag of rice right now, it would cost me about anywhere to 400 to 500 CDs on the norm. Before this hit, what I spoke about earlier with the gold bond and all that, the politics game with that, that same bag of rice was probably about 90, it depends on what type of rice you get, 90 to 150, 200 CDs. So it basically doubled or tripled. So again, what the country is going to have to do, they see that, all right, prices are not dropping and suppliers are not going to drop their prices. That never happens. No matter how the country fluctuates economy-wise, when inflation go up, it stays there. What has to happen is the government has to match that inflation by dropping the currency value in order to match people's ability to be able to purchase, everyday things to live. The one thing about Ghana is the housing is relatively cheaper than you would pay in America. But also, with housing being cheaper, a lot of other things are not. If you want to live the same modern lifestyle you live here in America, you want to eat the same foods, you want to go to ShopRite, you want to go to KFC, you want a Pizza Hut, all that is out there. You want to go to the, I don't even know what they're called, they have Woolworths, which is like a Walmart, whatever. You know, so don't think you're going to pay substantially higher prices than probably you would here in the U.S., or you're going to pay relatively the same price. So, lifestyle, living wise, housing wise, is cheaper, but modern lifestyle to match what you do in the U.S. or UK or Canada is not always going to be cheaper. And unless you're still bringing in U.S. dollars or the Canadian or the UK euro while living there, and you know you're making your money remotely, you're going to have a hard time keeping up that type of lifestyle. I always encourage people to, being interested in Ghana, I would give through my experience, I would say through the first 5 years, I wasn't engaging in anything, but you know, I was just being me, who I was at the time, chasing women, partying a lot. So that's all I know. But as I got older, people kept putting in my head, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that, blah, blah, blah. Don't waste your time here. Do something. Put in some work. So a lot of Ghanaians always tell me that. I didn't listen for a long time. And thank God that I was collecting rent here from houses that I own in the burbs of Drexel Hill. So I've always had that money to fall back on. But, you know, that is not always guaranteed. You run into problems, people don't want to pay rent, so now you're stuck in Ghana. And now you don't know what the hell to do. I've been there from Ghana to Nigeria, all that. So I've been through a lot, running out of money, having to run back home to situate things and make a little more, go back. Man, I've been through all that. I've been through all the ups and downs. But as I grew older and mature, I understood how to do things and how to live life abroad, and how to live it in a way that's stable for myself and stable for my family. So like I said, I made a lot of mistakes, but they're mistakes that I was able to learn from. I'm able to learn how to transfer money, what to do, how to do it, best ways, how to keep safe spots, spots over there, spots over here. I'm able to transfer out from one bank to another using different apps. So, you know, like I said, that was just a learning experience. I had to come to learn all that, find and research different ways to never allow myself to get stuck or stranded again. But I would say to live over Ghana, it's necessary to visit, like people say. But what did I call it? Oh, I say, depending on your classification financially, will determine how long I think you should take to build up things to move appropriately. I say if you're middle class, you're working a middle class job, making a middle class income, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a year, expect to have your plan last about 10 years. If you're not willing to put in 10 years of work to establish things correctly, I would say don't get involved, because you're going to be so disappointed. Things will most likely backfire. If you're rich and wealthy, hey, you can do whatever you want. If you're working, say, lower middle class, you're around that 35,000, 40,000 year range, as far as your family income, household income, I would say expect to put in between 10 and 15 years. 15 years being the general timeline. And the reason why I say that, because you want to put yourself in a situation where you have to worry about rent, you have to worry about where your money is going to come from once what you have saved up run out. There are many ways to situate yourself and establish yourself. But like I said, this takes years, because unless you're wealthy and rich and you could just throw $1 million at it, it's not going to happen for you overnight. So if you're willing to be here and visit there, maybe yearly on your 2-week or 4-week vacation, and have somebody working over there, somebody trustworthy that will be in touch with you throughout the year, each month, and keep you up to date with what's going on as you build, I would say that's really the only option. So basically, for 10-year period, 10, 15-year period, the option will be to travel there, vacation, continue to work your employment here in the U.S., unless you could do it remotely. Continue to invest monthly in your building structures over there for your housing and your business. So housing is one avenue, but you also need to find out what industry that you want to get involved with. And I would say not just one industry, I would say focus mainly on one, but also dip and dabble in one or two more, because you never know what might blow up or whatever. Basically, I always say what you can do over here, you can also do over there. Some of the things that I say to people, like, if you could get a group of people and you could do like dialysis, that is a business that Ghana is yearning for, to have dialysis locations for diabetics out there, which they don't have. So a lot of people who are from Ghana, expats from the diaspora rather, a lot of them don't travel back because some do have diabetes and they don't have that those medical facilities over there. So it's just one thought that I throw out there, whatever. But it's definitely, I think it's good to have another option other than the U.S. I think it's good to invest in other places if it's not Ghana. I don't know whether it's Uganda, wherever else. Burkina Faso is, I believe, it's going to be a real hot spot in the next 5 to 6 years for a lot of people to move into and invest and move and have dual citizenship over there. Mali, what is it? Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. I think Nigeria, living over there for a 3-year stint, I think it needs a lot of work. I'm not particularly interested in dealing with Nigeria in that way. I deal with my business. I still do business in Nigeria. I have employees in Nigeria, just like I do in Bangladesh. But I probably wouldn't advise people to move to Nigeria at this point in time. There's a lot of things that need to happen with their government situation. But Ghana has always been a growing economy. It's always been, for the most part, stable politically. And I think that with the rise of Ibrahim Traore and his fellow comrades in Niger and Burkina Faso, Niger and I don't know, I keep forgetting that, Niger and Mali. I think the new president in Ghana is starting to see a better future for Ghana, unlike the previous president did, who was basically a U.S. puppet and did not do for the people. But I think there's possibilities for Ghana that they will continue. They are beginning to seemingly move in the right direction, but I'm still on the wait and see basis. But other than that, living there, you know, it's a beautiful thing to live there. I love the people. I'm always treated very well, no matter where I go in Ghana. I guess this is basically was the intro. I want to speak more and give you guys a lot more information. You know, in time I'll speak about my company more and what I do and how I'm able to facilitate a way to split time between the U.S. and Ghana and have it work for me without having to make 6 figures working here in the U.S. or whatever. I like to think that I'm pretty well off. I don't, you know, I'm not hurting for anything. I have pretty much everything that I want. I'm able to support my family in my home and outside of my home. So I think that's all it really comes down to. Don't particularly care to be no type of billionaire or anything. If I make millions, I make millions. If I don't, I don't. As long as I have the things that are necessary for me, and that's how I'm able to live life and, you know, be what's the word that the Lord says? Be content. I'm very content with things I have. What else? My how should you say? Personal life, as far as the romantic side of it. I would say that I'm so much into my business and trying to do things and prepare myself to do some work for the Lord. And between my family, my children, and my sisters, my brothers, my aunts, my grandma, and all of them, I'm just helping out best way I can. Other than that, I think that I'm really enjoying life the way that it is right now. So I'm really content with life the way that it is, and think that I would keep moving in that way. So I'm okay. So as far as the love life and everything, I get into stories I tell you that probably will blow your mind. But a lot of it is funny, a lot of it ain't. But life is life, and sometimes you just gotta smile at life. But you know, man, I'm very content with life, and I thank God for the life that I have. And so basically, this video was just to give people a heads up who are interested into moving or investing in Ghana, that right now is not the proper time. The best advice that I could give to you is I will wait to the month of December to see where the currency exchange rate is, and make my decisions, you know, probably appropriately from there. But if you want to visit. And just understand, right now, visiting Ghana, your money will not go very far. So it just will not go very far. So it's unfortunate to bring the U.S. dollar over to Ghana and still not be able to do much. I would say this: if you're going to spend a week in Ghana, if you want to enjoy yourself, particularly as an individual, I would say bring no less than about $4,000, and that's just spending money. If you want to be able to go out every day, eat what you want to eat, mingle, have tours, just that and the other, bring about 4,000 US dollars. Before then, I would have said $1,000 would have done just fine. But right now, with the inflation and with the currency exchange rate, you're going to need about $4,000 to really enjoy yourself. And if you're a couple, you probably just want to up that to about $6,000. So again, right now it's not the best time to visit Ghana, but likely in December, things will go back to the norm, and the norm meaning what it's been for the past 4 or 5 years, where that US dollar could do a lot of damage that it used to. So other than that, also I was able 5 years ago, I think it's been 6 years since I purchased my plot of land in Kumasi, and had to do all that documentation, certificate, make sure I went through the land commissions, did that, and I went to Pokwasi. Like I said, started that actually like I said, I get into all these stories one-on-one, but I'm just giving you little snippets. That actually was a home that was being completed, incomplete home, that me and my wife at the time was going around looking for places to rent or buy. It just so happened that this house was, you could tell it was going to be beautiful, but it was incomplete. And we decided to invest in it, get the house completed, and the rest was history. But yeah, I do Airbnb over there at times. Airbnb hasn't been blowing up like times in the past. It's really been slow. But like I said, there's a lot of ways to make money in Ghana, and I think that unless I get on here and tell people, show my face to explain things to people who are not in the know, who don't know, who might be curious about what it takes to live overseas and live abroad, even those who are interested in living both abroad and here in the U.S. or in their home country and splitting time. So being that that's what I do now, and I experience that both about 15 years in now. So I think that, you know, being experienced as I am, I think I got a lot to say. But like I said, I just wanted to give you guys snippets other than letting you know the topic of the video. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to have a new topic every day. I'm going to try to do this Monday through Friday, or maybe Monday through Saturday, but likely Monday through Friday. And if you guys have any topics you want me to talk about, or you're curious about, or you want me to lean into to help you better understand, just hit me up by email. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, maybe Facebook or what have you. And I'll make sure that you have the information to get in touch with me by email. And from there on, maybe I'll start doing some consultations or whatever. I don't want to, be one of the people who tell you I'll pay $400 or $500 for something generous, $60, $70, $80. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But time is money. So no matter what it is, you still want to be rewarded for what you've been able to accumulate throughout your journey in life. But with that said, I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, if you got any requests, let me know, and just get in touch with me. All right. Once again, I'm out. Peace.